Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. This is Adrienne Montgomery with ERP VAR. We so appreciate you spending your time with us. We know it's hard to come by, so thank you again for joining. Today, we're going to be talking about Sage 100 Cloud Custom Manufacturing with the product configurator, shipping and payments. Our speakers today, on behalf of Brackus Blum, Joe Genders. He's the president and shareholder of Brackus Blum. He's been working with the product configurator and custom manufacturing for many, many years. Has a wide range of expertise when it comes to Sage 100 and manufacturing. That's definitely his core competency and his passion. We have Matt St. Johns. He's the sales executive over at V Technologies. He's going to be talking about Starship and automating all the shipping functionality with Sage 100. And we are also joined By Patricia Garay and Patty Benitez. Patty is the Senior Vice President of Channel, and Patricia Garay is the Channel Account Manager for APS Payments. And just a little bit about the companies before we get started here. Brackus Blum Computer Consulting has been selling and implementing JobOps, which is now Sage Operations Management software, for over 20 years. They are the all-time sales leader, and they're the #1 solution provider for 14 years straight. They have been selling and implementing Sage products for over 30 years, and they are at the Sage Diamond Business Partner, and they are very, very capable of supporting all aspects of Sage 100 and extremely capable when it comes to the manufacturing environment. So thank you so much, Joe, for being here and sharing your expertise. Starship was founded in 1987, and it provides integrated multi-carrier shipping solutions into Sage 100 for the warehouse and the front office. And they partner with dozens of parcel and LTL carriers, specifically FedEx, USPS, UPS, OnTrack, in the LTL carriers, Holland, UPS, YRC, Old Dominion, and other regional carriers like Pitt, Ohio. And they have very strong integrations with Sage 100, 300, 500, X3, Dynamics GP, Acumatica, QuickBooks, SAP Business One, Epicor, Syspro, very mature product. Also has integrations with Amazon, eBay, Magento, Shopify, and WooCommerce from an e-commerce standpoint. And APS Payments offers flexible and integrated payment solutions for every business. APS Payments is a full-service merchant services provider, and they're trusted by thousands of merchants daily to process payments. And they work diligently to make sure you get the lowest credit card processing rates because they reduce the risk and provide the best payment solutions and options for your business. With Sage 100, they'll take all of the data about the customer and they'll provide that to the credit card processing tiers and make sure you get the lowest rates based on the customer information. And so here's a little bit about the workflow that we'll be reviewing today. We're going to kick it off by talking about the rules-based configurator inside Sage 100. Joe's going to talk about how to determine which features and options are available that will best fit your business. He's going to talk a little bit about the price calculation rules that give you your end user pricing based on all the options that you select for the end user. And then also the easy step-by-step configuration process saves time. And then he's also going to show you how to auto-build work tickets and auto-build sales orders that turn into quotes. And then Matt's going to talk about how Starship works with Sage 100 to get you the lowest shipping rate by selecting the best carrier through rate shopping and all the functionality that comes in handy when you are selecting a carrier to expedite your shipments. And then Patty's going to talk about APS payments and getting you the lowest rate through level 3 credit card processing and payment processing functionality. So I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Joe.
All right, Adrienne, thanks for the great introduction.
My pleasure.
All right. So Sage Operations Management, also known as Sage 100 Manufacturing, also known as JobOps, is a powerful manufacturing suite with a lot of breadth and depth of functionality. It can handle field, depot, and internal service, installation, make to stock, make to order, including engineer to order and configure to order. And configure to order is really what I'm going to be covering today. The product configurator is a powerful tool for companies that sell a configurable product. It allows them to deal with the different feature and option choices. You can think of it as a dynamic quote or order generator and a dynamic work order generator. It'll create the text and the pricing for the quote or the order, and it'll create the routing, bill of materials, and instructions for production. So I've seen, over the years, I've seen companies that need a configurator that don't have it. And then usually what they end up doing, they have tens of thousands of items and bills of material that grow over time. And then it just kind of becomes burdensome. It's actually funny, this morning I was talking to a prospect, they have that exact same problem in their current system, and they were wondering, geez, we have 35,000 items and bills in our system. When is that going to start causing us problems? And it's given us a lot of clutter, because each unique configurable item, they make a new item and they make a new bill of materials, and it's only used once. So this really helps alleviate that problem. What the configurator can do is we're going to start out with a generic configurable item, and it's going to dynamically build it and create a smart part number. So in inventory, we just have that one item number that we start with, and then the smart part number, which gets saved in history, is the unique identifier to that. So I'm gonna walk through and show you how it works. So I'm in standard order entry. This could be a quote or it could be an order. I'll pick my customer. We'll pick the promise date that we want. So I'll jump over to the lines tab, and like I say, I'm going to start with the generic starting point. It's a unconfigured custom door. I'll click on work ticket, order one. So now that, because it's a configurable item, it's going to jump us in and run the configurator now. And I'll say yes to configure it. So you can see there's a 3-digit sequence up here. So it's we can have up to 999 sequences in here. If you use Sage's bill of materials with options, you get 9. Well, here we get 999, and we have rules and all kinds of other cool stuff. So there's a lot more power that we have here. So at this first sequence, we do get a few special options. We have load last. So what that'll do is it'll populate the current configuration with the last configuration that was run. This could be helpful. Maybe someone wants a quote and they want different quotes for different quantities, maybe 1, 10, 100, whatever. We could do that quote and then just add new line items with the different quantities, load last, fast forward, and you're done. That can be helpful in situations like that. We also can load a template. So at the end of the running a configuration, it'll allow us to save a template. So if there's common configurations, or maybe a common configuration that's in a catalog or whatever, we can save those as configuration templates. And then here, when someone needs that item, we can merely pick that template. We don't have to pick the features and options. So that can be helpful. So this first sequence is asking us, please select or enter the door height in inches. And it says a valid height is between 65 and 128 inches. So if I try to enter something that's not valid, it's not going to take it. So the configurator has rules and validation in it, so it won't let you do something that it doesn't want to let you do. So you don't have to be a rocket science on how to configure a door or whatever other product it might be. You just need the configurator will force you to follow the rules. So I'll just put in the standard 80-inch door. So that first sequence was just an example of entering a number. So it's a number. You can specify the decimal precision, and you can specify what is a valid number and what's not. So now we're at the second step here. It's a door width. This is an example of a calculated list. So when we set this up, we put the minimum of 28, the maximum of 48, and we told it was an increment of 2. So it dynamically built this list. So when you have an incremental list like this, it can be really easy to set that up. So I'll just select the 36-inch door. So now I'm at selecting the wood species. Now on this step, we have a little green question mark here, which is giving the user of the configurator more information. So if I click on that, it's telling me, please note that cherry and walnut, they're only available in veneer, and some other information. So this could be useful information to help people make the right selection. Now this is also going to display how the rules work in here. So if I choose the cherry species option and go forward, I can only get a hollow core door because it's only available in the veneer. If I go back and change to oak and go forward, now you can see I can select either a hollow or a solid core door. And later on at the end of the configuration, we have the ability to put a glass insert in the door. That's only available if you select solid. It's not available for a hollow core door. And as we're going along in here too, we can, it's building the text for the sales order. So if I go to show text, you can see here's it's starting to document my features and options that were selected. And here it's also starting to build my smart part number. We can see 80 inches, 36 inches oak. So we can kind of, it's making that unique identifier for this configuration. Go to the next sequence. Which door opening do you want? This is just an option list. So this is a list of different options you can select. Move forward. So this is another option list, but here I can pick the hinge type, and I can also enter the quantity. So I'm going to just pick three-way hinges. And we'll go forward. Here's what lock set do you want. And once again, here we have some built-in help telling me 2 keys are involved, blah, blah, blah. I can pick my antique brass. And as I go take a peek at the show text, you can see it's continuing to build the text. It's continuing to build my smart part number. I'll hit next. So here I'm at my glass insert. And this is an example of a yes/no feature. So, and this is only available because it is a solid core door. And then because I selected yes for the glass insert, now it's going to give me an option to say, hey, what do you want etched on that? Let's type something in. And we will say next. So now we're at the end. There are a couple of different sequences that we could have in here that I didn't demonstrate. One is an inventory lookup, and that's kind of cool because instead of building an option list, what you do is you build a filter into your inventory items. So let's say I had a glass insert option here that maybe had different designs on it. I could have a glass insert product line, and I could then filter on that product line, and then any new items that go into that product line would automatically be available in the configurator. So that could be a easy maintenance way when new options might be added that could be selected. The other thing that you really don't see in here is we can also have a sequence in here that's just it's an execute only. So if we want to do some calculations that might be needed within here, we're able to do that. So you can see it's built up my base price based on my selection. So I'm at $515 there. And some special options at the end here is save template. As I mentioned in the beginning, we could load a template in the beginning. Here's where we can save this configuration as a template in the end. Just give it an ID in the description. We could easily save it. I can click on show text. Here's all my text that it's captured with my features and options. There's my complete smart part number. If I thought I messed up and wanted to restart it, I could jump to the beginning and rerun this. But probably a little more helpful is I can click on the results tab here or option, and it's showing me all my selections, and I can do a review of that to make sure if I got it right or not. And maybe I go, oh darn, you know what? We need a left-hand opening, not a right-hand opening. I can click on that. It'll jump me back to that sequence. I can make my change, and I can fast forward to the end again. So I'm going to hit generate work ticket, and we'll go take a look at what it did. So it's basically dynamically built I'm going to print preview my traveler. So it's dynamically built my routing, bill of materials, and work instructions, and we'll see what it did based on our selections. So here in step 0, you can see it brought in the dimensions of the door into the work instructions of the first step. I scroll down to step 20. You can see it's built the routing with the different activities that need to perform. It's brought in my budgeted hours, which can be calculated. Here's my materials that are needed for production and my 3 3-way hinges. There's my oak sheets, and it calculated how much I needed based on the doors of the dimensions of the door. Scroll down here. Step 30 is where my glass insert is done. You can see in the work instructions, it brought in the etching that needs to be done with that operation. And then if I go to the last step, things like the lock set and that doesn't need, it's not required for production. So here we just have those materials coming in at the packing and shipping phase. So the configurator basically dynamically created this routing and bill of materials on the fly and as it's saving it with this order, it's not creating a bill of materials that'll never get used again. So what it also did on the sales order was dynamically build my sales order or quote. You can see I have a base price on my door of $495. We wanted to show the glass insert as an upcharge, so we have that as a second line item. And then if I go to the extended text of this line, it has all the features and options on it. So I can print this out on the order or the quote, and I'm able to send that to the customer so they can confirm that that's what they want, and we'd be good to go. Also have an option here too. This button here is to reconfigure this configuration. So maybe I sent them out a quote, they reviewed it, they wanted to change something. I could easily come back in here, reconfigure that line, change my quote to an order, and we'd be good to go. And another fringe benefit I'm going to show you here is that this isn't related to the configurator, but it's cool. This is part of the manufacturing software. If I click on the promise date field here, I'm able to run a capable to promise calculation. So this is going to do a quick and dirty schedule of this item and see how quickly we can get it done if they place the order now. So my current promise date is the 17th. So I'm going to run the capable to promise calculation, and it's saying, hey, you can get it done by the 14th. So we're cool on that. But then little green key also tells you how it did that calculation, and it's also considering material as a constraint. So here with the oak that we needed was not in stock. It's first gonna, with its lead time, it first would be, if we ordered it today, it first would be available by July 10th. And so then the step that needs that oak can first start a day after that. And so it basically did a quick and dirty little schedule, and so we could set expectations with the customer as to when that door might be ready. So it dynamically created my my quote or my order. So that was a brief overview of the Sage Operations Management Product Configurator. It can be a powerful tool and a huge advantage for companies that have configurable products. So I guess if anybody has any questions on that, please reach out to me. I would be happy to answer any questions or work with you if you like. So thank you very much for your time.
And Joe, you also work a lot with channel partners too that might not focus on manufacturing. So I just wanted to remind the audience, if you're a channel partner, Joe would love to talk with you about a possible partnership, I'm sure, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. We work with a lot of resellers across the country. We can help qualify deals, and we can come in as your manufacturing expert, and we can help train your people too so that they can become stronger with manufacturing.
Perfect. Okay, so we'll go ahead and hand it over to Matt. Matt, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And thanks everyone for taking time to join today's webinar. We all really appreciate it. Now, usually I do a live demo as well, but the demo gods have struck that down today, and actually my Sage machine has crashed, and Sage is all corrupt, so having some issues there. But we'll go through set up a kind of a quick slide deck, so bear with me. I prefer doing demos, but we'll try to make through going through the slide deck the best we can. So again, my name is Matt St. John, one of the sales executives here at V Technologies. And let's talk a little bit. I know Adrian started off in the beginning, but a little bit more about V Technologies. Of course, as she mentioned, we have been developing integrated shipping solutions for 33 years now, since 1987. We are actually located in Connecticut, and everything is done in-house. So from sales to support, development, we're not outsourcing anything. And all we do at V Technologies is integrated shipping software. We are also a UPS ready provider, as well as a Platinum FedEx compatible solution, as you can see. And what that means is, if anyone's out there looking to purchase Starship, UPS and FedEx both have subsidy programs, and through those programs, you can actually qualify for free funding. And again, because we are a certified vendor with them, you could use that funding to purchase Starship. As you also see, we've been working with the Sage product line for over 20 years now. Again, we do have integrations with a lot of other ERP systems, but been integrated with Sage 100, 200, 300, and 500. But again, working for over 20 years with Sage. And currently have about 10,000 customers that are using our integrated shipping solutions. So talk through my demo portion. I'll kind of walk through the workflow. Our integration with Sage is plug and play, bi-directional. And one of the nice things with Starship is, as a shipper, I can actually just work inside of the Starship program. So I don't need access to Sage. I don't have to go from Sage to Starship back to Sage. A lot of customers, this can help free up Sage licenses because, again, as a shipper, and again, most of our current customers out in the warehouse on our shipping machine, they just have Sage installed. So the shipper walks up to Sage and brings in all of the shipment information. Now, we can pull by sales order number, by invoice number, even by the customer number. Most workflow is by the sales order number. And what Starship is going to do is bring in all the order header line item detail from that sales order. Right? So as a shipper, all that information is going to come in. My sender information is automatically going to populate. We do fully support if anyone out there needs to do blind shipments. So for example, if I need to ship for Walmart, Starship could automatically change the shipment information. Now with Starship, it is literally, we're mapping our fields to Sage. So if you need options automated, it's simply telling Starship, okay, Starship, I want you to look here. And if you see information in that field, automatically bring that in or automatically select that shipment option, maybe insurance, for example. We can look at user-defined fields if you have them set up inside of Sage to also help select options. So really the name of the game with Starship is to help streamline that whole shipment process. So the less things as a shipper I have to click, manually type in, change, of course, the better. Right? So again, sender information, we can automatically going to populate. The recipient information, of course, we're going to look at the ship to from that sales order. Again, if we're pulling in by the sales order document. And that's automatically going to populate. Starship's going to run address validation. We do validate zip +4, so we're going to help save on those address correction fees. And then, like I mentioned, based off your ship via, Starship's going to automatically know how to select the correct carrier, the service. And so if I brought an order, my ship via is UPS ground or UPSG, Starship's going to know, okay, it's UPS, it's ground. If anyone out there is also doing third party or collect shipments, we could set the system up so it's automatically going to select, hey, it's going, again, for example, UPS, it's going ground. The billing type is going to be, in this case, third party. And then we can also automatically populate the customer's account information. So Starship has its own database where you could set up and store your customers' third-party information, so their address information, including multiple account numbers. So maybe you have customers that have UPS as well as FedEx account numbers. Again, Starship could be set up. That whole process will be automated. So as a shipper, I don't have to stop and type in. I know a lot of prospects that I talk to, it's currently, we put a note on the pick sheet, make sure you ship on customer's account number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as a shipper, I have to stop, change that, type in the account number. Back before, if I mistyped in an account number, I get hit with that because I'm going to process it, and then it's going to come back, and if it was UPS, they're going to say, oh, this is an invalid account. It's going to go on your account. Starship will actually now validate the third-party or bill recipient account number. So if it's a UPS or FedEx and you're sending a third party, it will validate. So if it is incorrect, it will prompt the shipper, and they're not going to be able to process the shipment. Okay. Again, really all that information is going to come in, populate shipment options. We can default shipment options. We can get into that item to box detail. So as a shipper, I can even put items in packages. Of course, as if we're using a WMS system, we fully integrate with that. So however I define the shipment on a handheld device, that's how it's going to come into Starship. So I don't even have to get into the packaging. Even the item to box detail inside Starship's optional. I don't have to put items in a box. I have customers that they ship large orders. Hey, it's 100 line items. I don't want my shipper to have to put items in each box. So they just bring everything in, and all the items come into one default box. Starship even has a repeat box function. So they simply click repeat and tell Starship, okay, I need 10 boxes. Automatically adds the 10 boxes. And then of course, you're gonna have to put weights for each box, and Starship does fully integrate. If you have scales that are integrated to your workstations, it can automatically pull in the weights. My system, I usually show I'm actually looking at Sage, so the weights are automatically coming in. So even as a shipper now, I don't even have to stop and weigh anything. It's reading the weights from Sage. Starship has a custom database where you could set up custom boxes, bags, bales, pallets, what have you. So that nice thing with that is, maybe I select a large box. The dimensions are automatically going to populate inside Starship, because Starship's also going to do dimensional weight. So we do have the actual weight, again, either coming from a scale or Sage, or even manually typing that in. But Starship will run a dimension calculation based off of the carrier's calculation. So if it was UPS, it would run the UPS calculation. And if there was a difference, maybe I'm saying, oh, this is 10 pounds, dimensionally it's 15. When it gets processed, it will go out at the correct dimensional weight. So that way later on, you're not going to get hit with that bill from, again, maybe UPS that says, oh, you sent this out 10 pounds, it should have been 15. Here's the difference. Okay. Live rate shopping. So Starship does have integrations with over 24 carriers, and that is parcel as well as LTL, 3PL services or freight brokers. And with that integration, it is live rate shopping. So there's no staging table. So if I were to rate shop inside Starship, I'm going to see if it's a parcel shipment, I'd be able to see published list rates. I'm going to also be able to see my live contract rates. And then also we have a applied column, which in Starship terms, applied is simply plus or minus any freight rules. So we can get into freight rules where maybe, oh, we want to give certain customers a discount. Maybe you have a promo code. They can be percentages, min maxes, flat rates, up to you. And again, we can look at Sage fields, even user-defined fields to trigger those freight rules. So I have customers that do, well, I ship a fragile item, so they have freight rules that say, hey, anytime this item is on an order, at a flat rate of $3 because we have to use additional packaging material. So let's help cover that for that additional packaging material. The carrier integrations also fully support any of your contract options that you have with the carrier. Of course, going to return electronically the pro numbers or tracking numbers for LTL carriers. A lot of them support like electronic pickup, so you don't even have to notify the carrier. But the nice thing is, right from Starship, multi-carrier, multi-mode, so I'm going to be able to process all my different types of shipments. I'm going to be able to see all my different carriers, especially with LTL. I know a lot of customers out there beforehand where, I may have to go to each carrier's website and get the rates. And then, when I choose one, I have to then call them or go back on the website and say, yep, we have something ready to be picked up. So Starship can do all that right from the one user interface. Freight rules, we talked about ship via rules. We can even get into having Starship automate the selection of the carrier service. So I also have customers that kind of what we do say, quote unquote, do best way. So it might come in as UPS, but they have rules set up that tell Starship, okay, you automatically rate shop my shipment, and I want you to select the least expensive carrier service or maybe least amount of delivery days. So that whole process can be automated as well. Starship's also here with, say, your inventory items. We actually have a database for all your inventory items, and it will automatically start storing those. And the reason we do that, for example, international shipments. You know, you need a lot of required international information, like the country of manufacturer, the harmonized or Schedule B codes. So what Starship can do, we can store all that. And then when it comes in, as a shipper, I don't even have to select any of that information. Of course, if it was missing, Starship would prompt my shipper. We even have a lookup for, say, the harmonized or Schedule B code. So maybe that was missing. I could quickly go in there. I could look it up, you know, linked into the government database. I can find the correct Schedule B or harmonized code, select it. And of course, any of that information that I add, you know, if it was missing, Starship would automatically remember it for the next time. Again, just helping streamline that process, whereas a shipper, I don't have to manually select or put in any information. So again, as a shipper, I bring in an order. You know, it's a very fast, quick process, very easy process, very user-friendly. What's going to happen again? Maybe I'm getting into item box detail. Maybe I'm going to then do some rate shopping. But as soon as I'm ready, I can simply click a click and process button. That's going to tell Starship, okay, I'm processing this. It's, you know, if it's a UPS, FedEx, or LTL shipment, it's pinging the carrier. It's going to generate my shipping labels, any shipping documents. So Starship can generate packing lists, bill of lading forms, even international documents as well. Those documents can be customized. We allow for unlimited user templates. And even on each of those custom templates, you can assign printing rules. So again, maybe I am shipping for Walmart, and Walmart always wants their logo on the packing list. Or we have customers like for Wayfair or Home Depot, they have specialized packing lists. So we can create those simple templates and then assign those rules. So Starship would only generate that document, you know, if it was for, say, a Walmart or a Home Depot. Okay. Now, as a shipper, again, I'm just going to ship and process. What Starship's going to do is generate my shipping documents. It's going to then take me back to the main Starship screen, or really I rinse, repeat, go through that whole cycle again. But for the front office, kind of behind the scenes, what's going to happen as soon as my shipper clicks ship and process is Starship's going to take our tracking, our pro numbers. If we're writing back the freight amount, if we're writing back, maybe I back ordered an item, it's also going to write back the units that I've shipped. So maybe if I change something in back order, it will write that back into Sage. What it's also going to do is also create the invoice in SO invoice data entry for the front office. So really just going to automatically create that. We're not going to generate it. So really most clients, they just have the front office go through, yep, here's my batch, and Starship does fully support batches if you have them turned on. As a shipper, I can even tell Starship which batch to put the invoice in. But front office worker, they can go through, they can look at the different invoices, make sure everything looks correct. Even that freight amount, again, for writing that back. Starship also offers our custom write back XML, where we can take additional Starship information and pass it into, say, a user-defined field. So I have clients that on the invoice under the standard Sage freight amount field, they have a user-defined field that's called freight costs from Starship, and they're always passing back their freight costs. That way, when someone's going through and looking over the invoices, they can see, oh yeah, you know, we're trying to charge them maybe $25, but oh, look at this, we're going to be charged $35. You know, something happened, maybe they received a discount that they shouldn't have. As a front office or whoever's upgrading or looking over those invoices, they can simply override the freight amount field and, you know, adjust it as needed. Okay. Also for the front office, we included with Starship is the ability to rate shop right from sales order entry. So at time of sales order, that works for a quote, or if I'm doing a full-blown sales order, we add a rate quote button. I can click that. I can build the shipment if I wanted to. It's going to take all that information from the sales order, populate it in the rate quote screen. And as a customer service rep, I would be able to see all my live negotiated rates, and I can then select the correct carrier service, you know, from there. Or if a customer wants a quote, I can quote them. Next thing with that, it does not require any additional Starship user seats or licenses, so it is available to everyone in the front office. Also on here, as you see, we do integrate with, of course, job ops, as Joe just explained, went through that, but we do integrate with EDI solutions as well as warehouse management solutions. I talked about that, but with EDI integrations, what Starship's going to do is automatically take all that required shipment information to generate ASMs, pass that back into the EDI solution. Starship can also generate the 128 or the GSI 128 labels right at time of shipment. And then also, as you see, world-class support. So again, our support is in-house, it's not outsourced. and really our support agents, they are familiar, not only with Starship, of course, but also with your ERP system. So in this case, with it being Sage 100, we have a lot of guys there that have been working with Sage 100 for a very long time. And again, kind of a brief description of Starship and that workflow between Sage, but if anyone would like to schedule a live one-on-one demo or even discovery call, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, thank you for your time. And with that, I'm going to hand it back over to APS so they can discuss how credit card processing make that easy for you as well.
Matt, I just love how you were able to verbally illustrate everything. That was amazing.
Well, thank you. I try. I don't like doing the slide deck, but I might have to start.
That was awesome. All right. Thank you, Patty, and thank you, Matt, for your presentation. Patty, I'll hand it over to you.
Thank you, Adrian. And it was a great presentation by both Matt and Joe. I really appreciate the information that you're sharing with all of us. Very beneficial. How does credit card processing blend into this mix, right? I get asked a lot, what are you doing in these demos, Patty? Credit card processing has nothing to do with manufacturing or shipping or job ops in general, right? It does, and let me explain how. We're actually able to offset the cost of the solutions that you saw today. And the way that we do that is by helping you to better understand your current credit card processing rates and fees. APS Payments is a full service merchant provider, and that means we are not only the gateway, but also the processor. The reason I like to start my presentation with this picture is because I like to let everybody know I'm the hot chick in the white there. And then we have a full team of very diverse cultures, not only with regards to the different countries we come from, but also with the level of knowledge. We have programmers on staff. We have people that have worked with the channel like myself. We have technicians. We have people that have worked at our back-end banks, credit card processing industry experts, as well as ERP experts. So it is definitely a one-stop shop when it comes to credit card processing. Now, I wanted to just talk a little bit about the new normal and the post-pandemic market. What exactly will that look like? 29.5 million consumers plan to continue working from home, even after the economy reopens. I think that's key for everybody. We were talking a little bit about planning to go back to the office, and I'm not going to mention any names, but he knows who I'm talking about, said that they would have to put him in handcuffs, throw him in a paddy wagon to get him back to the office. So think about that, ladies and gentlemen. Most people are looking at that same situation where they want to be able to work from home, automate whatever it is that they're processing, their manufacturing process, they're, automated in the system, their shipping process, get it automated, have as little need for being at a physical location as possible while continuing to do business. The same thing applies for payments. How do you control payment continuity? By supplying your customers with a safe, secure, and compliant method for them to continue making their payments. 66% of SMBs will rely more on e-commerce sales after the pandemic. No doubt about it. Everyone, myself as a consumer, I don't even consider going to the store anymore to buy anything. I know that I could do anything that I need to do online. And for those of you millennials that are on the line today, we know that you like to be able to have the flexibility to use different apps to shop, to work on projects, and of course to make payments. We make it as simple as possible. What exactly are the omnichannel payments? When it comes to payments, the meaning of omnichannel is the ability to provide all methods or channels of collecting payments in the ways in which your customers prefer to pay. Not only the customers, we are consumers as well. And we know we like the flexibility, we like the options. So understanding where we as consumers are coming from will help you to understand exactly why payments is such an important factor, no matter what project you're working on. Again, in this particular case, we want to help you to find ROI ahead of time in order to purchase the solution from Brackus and the solution from Starships. Now, a lot of the savings begin by understanding your fee structure. Many companies that come to us for a free audit will tell us that they're happy with a flat rate, but are curious to find out if there's any possibility to lower their rate. The answer 100% of the time is yes. If you have a flat rate contract, I understand it is the most straightforward type of fee structure, but it is also the fee structure that is least flexible when it comes to getting you the lower rate. Why? Because you sign a contract with the processor that says, I'm happy with that rate, don't ever change it. And if the card brands have any programs in place that can potentially lower your rate, you won't be able to get the lower rate because you signed a contract already with a specific flat rate. Now, there's also a fee structure called tiered pricing. This one allows the processor to decide on multiple buckets in which to place the transactions that a merchant typically processes. It could run from 3 to 6 types of tiers. And in this case, I was thinking about just presenting a simple tiered structure, fully non and mid qualified transactions, right? Well, whenever we evaluate statements coming from a merchant that has a tiered structure in place, 90% of the transactions are non-qualified, and that is equivalent to the highest rate available. When we ask the merchant to explain the criteria behind the qualification, they never really understand what the criteria is. And even when they reach out to the processor typically will not explain the details behind the qualification to each bucket. So again, you give the processor full power to charge you the highest rate. The third fee structure, and this is the fee structure that APS recommends, is Interchange Plus. Why? Because it's the most transparent. It basically says that we will pass the cost directly from the card brand to the merchant and then negotiate a markup fee. That's it. You will be able to see and keep track of the exact rates that the card brands are offering, meaning that if there are any programs in place, such as level 3, which I'll explain in a few seconds, you will be able to take advantage of those programs and get the lowest rates available in the industry. What exactly is level 3? Level 3 is a program that was put in place by Visa and MasterCard and basically offers to lower the rates for US-based companies that are accepting corporate or government cards. In exchange, they require 13 to 16 data fields to prove it's a corporate or government card that you're actually submitting. When you provide the data fields, the rate can go down in half, sometimes even more than half, depending on the volume of the transaction. Let's just say, for example, the current rate right now is 2.65. If we submit level 3 data on our merchant's behalf, the rate will go down to 1.85 instantly. And it does not require you, the merchant, to have to do anything different in your standard workflow process. Why? Because we take the data fields directly out of Sage and deliver them to Visa MasterCard on your behalf. That's how we guarantee you get that lowest rate. Now take a look at one of our analysis review statements. The volume on this account was a little bit over $400,000, close to $500,000 a month. You can see the merchant, and this is a true merchant, was processing using the tiered structure. You'll notice on the screen the different types of qualification, and notice how the non-qualified with the highest rate are the largest numbers of transactions, 4.39. And then notice how at the top under the Visa MasterCard Discover, the rate is really saying 3.15 as a tiered rate, but overall, the actual would have been much higher due to the variety of the tiered structure. If you look at the bottom, you would notice the pricing that APS would offer had this merchant, had they been processing using the Interchange Plus structure. Instantly, the rate went down to 0.18. And when you look at the charges from the different card brands, we applied level 3. So the fees went down considerably to the point that we were actually able to save this particular merchant over $10,000 a month. ladies and gentlemen, I'm sorry, did I say 10,000? I meant 5,000, over $5,000 a month. So if this isn't telling you that you may be leaving money on the table, I really don't see what else I can show you that will prove to you that you could potentially be leaving money on the table that will then help you to purchase the solutions that you saw today. There are no strings attached in obtaining a free audit of your current rates and fees. Simply send me 3 months of your most current merchant statements. I will run an analysis similar to this one and show you exactly where I found the room for savings. You can take that information and use it with any processor, and I promise you, if you show them that you were educated and understand exactly where the fees come from, they will lower the rates for you. And if they don't, you always have the option to switch over to APS. Other key features to consider, and that of course APS offers, are the tokenization of card data. No one wants to be liable in a security breach, and we've seen this happen. If you're not PCI compliant, the company can actually go under. The fees begin at a minimum $100 per card per transaction, and that doesn't count the bank fees, penalties, the card penalties, the bank penalties. Imagine once you add all of those legal fees, etc., your business will not be able to withstand the hardship of having to make those payments. The daily automation and batch reporting, our solution is written and formatted for Sage 100. You will be able to process transactions within sales order, within sales order invoice data entry, and you can actually apply payments against invoices through cash receipts. We also provide a solution for online payments called Click to Pay. Click to Pay allows you to print your invoices via paperless office, send them to your customers, and allows them to make their payment by clicking on a Click to Pay button right on the body of the invoice. That payment flows right back into cash receipts, meaning that you will not have to double enter any data. Level 3 will also apply using Click to Pay or using the Sage 100 integration. We have EMV and multi-currency functionality. The Click to Pay also has an online payment portal, so your customer doesn't necessarily have to go through a Click to Pay invoice. They can create login credentials and have access to the portal. The portal will allow them to see any open invoices and make their payments online with details of the invoices. We offer secure 24/7 online reporting. We do not charge for the installation, maintenance, setup of our software. And I was going to show you a demo, but I ran into issues with Sage 100, not sure what happened. So I'd like to talk you through it. And if anybody has questions about Click to Pay, let me know. If, again, anybody is interested in, and just out of curiosity, finding out if there is any room for savings with your current credit card processors, I promise you, I will provide you with the audit and you can take it anywhere you'd like. Simply send me 2 months of or 3 months of your most current merchant statements and we can take it from there. Also would love to walk anybody through the workflow process within Sage 100 on one-on-one presentations. Feel free to contact me and I'll be happy to help. One last thing I want to mention to everybody, we guarantee to beat or match any competitors' rates and fees, or we will pay you $500 for simply allowing us to audit your statements. For all of you that are on the call today, get curious, find out if there is any savings that you should be obtaining currently from your current processor. I'm happy to let you know. With that, Adrienne, I'd like to hand it back over to you.
Thank you, Joe, Matt, and Patty. Great presentation. We look forward to seeing you in the future. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.